this is an article by Time Magazine, very well known. I don't mean Time Magazine, I mean the article because it's their famous Man of the Year. And they've chosen Ben Bernanke to be the Man of the Year. Now, at first, when I saw that, I thought, well, that's fine. You know, they choose important players. Sometimes they're for the good, sometimes they're for the bad. Sometimes they're in the middle, but they've had dramatic effects. And Ben Bernanke obviously has had a huge effect on the economy and on the state of our country because he was the head of the Fed when the economy imploded, and then he had to try to fix it as well. So two huge effects there. So it's a defensible choice, it seems to me. And so I go to read the article, and I'm curious how they came out with it. And then it turns out to be the worst article ever written. It's written by Michael Grunwald, who is apparently a hideous journalist, a terrible, terrible reporter. Okay, now why did I get so incensed by this article? Well, they picked him to be the Man of the Year because they say he saved the world and that he's a hero. But they didn't just say that. They said it over and over and over again for 12 pages, talking about how glorious Ben Bernanke is and how we should all, understand what a tough job he has. I mean, they went him growing up in a little town and how he used to write poetry, and he came and his dad's store was on a street called Main Street. But look, I'm not going to do vague attacks on this article. I'm going to tell you exactly what's in the article. Now, this might take a while, but this is historic. This is an amazing article. Okay, so here we go. First, they starts with explaining Ben Bernanke. In the first paragraph, Grunwald says, his arguments aren't partisan or ideological. They're methodical, grounded in data, and the latest academic literature. He's professorial, which makes sense because he spent most of his career as a professor. So he's not partisan. No, he didn't. No, he would never be a Republican or push that kind of ideology. Now, during his confirmation hearings, when they asked Ben Bernanke, where should we get money because we need money for the system, he said, oh, I don't know, go to where the money is, like the old bank robbers used to say. Get it from Social Security and Medicare. So he doesn't mind going and grabbing it from Social Security and Medicare. Well, how about higher taxes? Oh, I don't want to say anything on that. No. This guy was one of Bush's top economic advisors. He's not political. He has an absolute political agenda. Now, it might be an agenda that makes sense. We can get into that discussion. But to tell me that he's above politics and his arguments are grounded in data and the latest academic literature, just the facts, ma'am. Okay, we're just getting warmed up. He continues in the second paragraph. He's not, in other words, a typical Beltway power broker. No. He's way above that. He doesn't do the D.C. dinner party circuit. He prefers to eat at home with his wife, who still makes him do the dishes and take out the trash. Wow. And here I thought he was super effing man. That he just flew from his home to his office and said, he takes out the trash? Oh, what a common guy. What a common guy. How could we have misjudged Ben Bernanke like this? Apparently he doesn't care about power or politics at all. That's why he's trying to get renominated as the head of the Fed. All right, we continue. And ever since, I'm keeping you sentences throughout the article, and ever since global credit markets began imploding, its mild-mannered chairman has dramatically expanded those powers and reinvented the Fed. And this is seen as a positive. He's dramatically expanded the powers of the Fed, but no negative side of that is brought up. It's just, oh, look at this hero coming to the rescue. So when turbulence in the U.S. housing markets metastasized into the worst global financial crisis in more than 75 years, he conjured up trillions of new dollars and blasted them into the economy. Oh, here comes Super Ben! He conjured up trillions of dollars. Do you want to talk about how he conjured that up? Whether that makes any sense? Where did he get it from? Is it the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do? And how did we get into the worst global financial crisis in more than 75 years? Did you think, hey, while I'm writing this article, I might realize that he was the head of the Fed, but when we ran into the iceberg, this guy's the captain of the Titanic, and you're like, oh, this worst global financial crisis in more than 75 years just popped up. And then Ben came to the rescue. What do you mean, and then? He was the head of the Fed when it happened. Why aren't you talking about what a disaster he was? That was just page one. Okay, I told you this might take a while. So let's go to the next thing. And then he explains all the things that happened, revolutionized housing finance with a breathtaking shopping spree for mortgage bonds, blew up the Fed's balance sheet to 3 times its previous size. These are all the things that Bernanke did. But they're saying it in glowing terms. He blew up the Fed's balance sheet to 3 times its previous size. Don't you think that might be dangerous? Don't you think that's unprecedented power that Congress never gave him? No, no, he's Super Ben. Just trust him. Believe me, later in the article, he says exactly that. You don't have to believe me, I'm going to read it to you. And it concludes, after all the things that he's done, he led an effort to save the world economy. Well, let's keep reading and see if he did. He goes on in the next paragraph to say that the people that object to him are, quote, bleeding heart liberals and Tea Party reactionaries. So there's no legitimate criticism of Ben Bernanke. Everybody on the left and the right are just crazy, right? All the people in the solid middle understand that Ben Bernanke is here to help you, right? So here he is inside his marble fortress, explaining him at work. A technocrat in an ink-stained shirt and an off-the-rack suit, explaining what he's done, where we are, and what might happen next. Oh, he's just an average guy, and he's got an off-the-rack suit. He's got ink stains on his shirt. He's so average. He's such a common man. Never mind that he gave all this money to the banks. Shush, 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 okay? And they then give you a quote from Ben Bernanke. He says, I come from Main Street, from a small town that's really depressed. This is all very real to me. Ben, you're not in that town in South Carolina anymore. Who are you kidding? That town that he's from, Dillon, South Carolina, now has a 17% unemployment rate. And he's pretending he's still in the middle of town, like working like a carpenter. Oh, yeah, I'm running out of jobs here. He's the head of the Fed. How do you give him that quote and don't challenge it? He wishes, explaining Bernanke again, he wishes Americans understood that he helped save the irresponsible giants of Wall Street only to protect ordinary folks on Main Street. Are you done blowing this guy yet? No, apparently not. I mean, this mouth love knows no end, okay? It goes on. I keep going. His quote, his creative leadership helped ensure that 2009 was a period of weak recovery rather than catastrophic depression. They acknowledge throughout the article, he hasn't really done much about jobs. And in fact, later in the article, they say he's not going to do anything about jobs because he's so smart and understands that would be a foolhardy way to go. But he's not partisan or anything like that. And yes, okay, we have a weak recovery, but time has an excuse for that. It could have been worse. Ben Bernanke saved us from catastrophic depression. And if we had gone into that depression, who caused it in the first place? Oh yeah, never mentioned in the article. And then they have literally a whole segment in the article called, quote, the man from Main Street. Okay, now this is the third reference to Main Street, and it only keeps going, okay? We're only on page 3 of the article. Even after he took over the Fed, he never expected all this drama, as if the drama's like thrown in his lap. He never expected all this drama, which is to say he utterly failed to foresee the global financial implosion. I'm like, finally, thank you. You said he didn't foresee the implosion. Finally, we're getting some journalism here, right? Now here's the sentences afterwards. But when the credit markets disintegrated, he had the ideal background to respond. It's like a novel, Marvel's Fed Governor Daniel Tarullo. It was the right man in the right place at the right time. It was as if his entire life had been preparation for this crisis. That last part was time. It wasn't even the quote of that guy who might be working underneath him. Okay. So this drama, this global financial implosion, it just kind of happened on his watch. No one could have seen it coming, of course, but thank God the right man at the right place at the right time was there. Look, why am I taking so long with this article? It's because this is exactly what's wrong with the American media. They don't tell you what the reality is. They don't tell you what the truth is. They're just into myth making. They create these myths of these superhero guys. They did it during the Clinton administration too, when they called Greenspan, Rubin, and Larry Summers the Committee to Save the World. And they puff up these guys. They don't challenge power. They suck up the power. Because this gives them access. Oh, I got an interview with Ben Bernanke because I called him the man of the year. Oh, congratulations. I hope you're happy with yourself because this is the worst journalism I've read in a long time. I'm not done. A little bit more, okay? And then they get to a heading called A War of Necessity. In other words, they had they're going to draw the comparison to Iraq. Well, not to Iraq. Just a war of necessity. And this is a good thing, okay? They were forced into action. And this section begins, today the second guessers are running wild. How dare you second guess Ben Bernanke? He's the head of the Fed. You clown Michael Grunwald. It's your job as a reporter to challenge power, You're supposed to second guess them. You're not just supposed to say, okay, yes, Mr. Bernanke, of course, Mr. Bernanke. How could these reactionaries on the left and right ever second guess your genius work? And then they mentioned how Florida Congressman Alan Grayson challenged Ben Bernanke, and then they rip Grayson to shreds. Is it backed up by facts? No. They're like, Grayson, he had a funny tie on. That's what he says. He had a funny tie on, and he goes after Bernanke. And here's the conclusion of that segment. Ha ha, Bernanke's right. That's it. That's it. That's the conclusion. Oh, Grayson, yeah, what a clown. He had the wrong tie. Ha ha, Bernanke's right. This is supposed to be journalism. The man has concluded, no, all the detractors are wrong. Ben Bernanke's always right. He continues, Bernanke has tried harder than any previous Fed chairman to explain his actions to the public. And then he explains how many times he went in front of Congress, etc. Why can't they leave poor Ben Bernanke alone? Leave Ben alone! God, he's tried so hard to explain himself. Why won't you understand? And then they go to how hard he's worked, and there's the categories of worldwide outreach, the rescue missions, etc. Here's from worldwide outreach. Bernanke's pragmatic, plain-spoken, data-driven approach has been a hit with his fellow central bankers. Really? I didn't see that coming. His fellow central bankers really liked it too. But again, look at the description. There's no downside. He's pragmatic, plain-spoken, data-driven approach. Because he would never be biased. He would never have an agenda. It's just all about the numbers with Bernanke. And they have another quote from someone else here, sucking up to him, saying, there's no show-off with him. Except this article, where he said, hey, why don't you write this article about me? I'll give you quotes. I'll give you a couple of Fed governors and my other banker friends who'll give you fantastic quotes about me. This article could not have been written better if Ben Bernanke wrote it, because he would have been embarrassed. He would have been embarrassed to write this stuff about it. Anybody would be embarrassed to write this fawning article about themselves. He'd be like, oh, man, I can't put this in print. It looks too bad, right? Oh, I got it. I'll get some loser guy who thinks he's a journalist, and I'll say, good boy, here, I give you access. Write an article about me, and I'll feed it to him, and he'll write this suck-ass piece. Okay, but there's no show-off in Ben Bernanke. None at all. Now, from the section, the buying binge, you see, I'm worked up on this. Okay, I'm not going to let this guy off the hook. Here he goes. This year, he's gone on an astonishing shopping spree with conjured money, including a $1.5 trillion foray into mortgage-backed securities that represent an unprecedented intervention into a specific economic sector. Again, I think I got encouraged. I was like, oh, astonishing spending spree, conjured money. Now tell me how he conjured the money and why that might be a problem. Nope. The rest of it explains how he's a magician. He just conjured that money and he put it in. Now, how much that helped the bankers and how many bonuses, how much they made in bonuses because the Fed gave him that money? Nope, not mentioned. Shush. He took all their bad assets off their balance sheet so they could make the money? Shush, that would be journalism. No, he just conjured the money, and because he's a hero. And we're getting near the end here. Then Michael Grunwald explains, taxpayers are on a track to profit from TARP's wildly unpopular bank bailouts. Saying it's unpopular, but you know what? We're going to make money off of it. Hey, schmuck, did you think about all the money that that all those bankers got through AIG? There's a story today about how Citigroup is going to get a huge billions of dollars in tax breaks because the Treasury Department just decided to give them the tax breaks so they can pay the money back, the TARP money back, so they can get their bonuses. Did you think about any of that? No. You just looked at the TARP money. Oh, that got paid back, so everything might be good. Must be good. You're terrible at journalism. All right. Now that the fire is out, here he goes again defending him against all detractors. Now that the fire is out, it's easy to attack the firefighters for getting the furniture wet or holding their hoses improperly. And then we go to a quote from, of course, Tim Geithner. The fire metaphor doesn't even do it. The Fed is more like the Pentagon. It defends the freedom and security of Americans from existential threats. This wasn't a war of choice. It was a war of necessity. I mean, that's the exact argument the Bush guys made, but he's quoting it here like it's like the greatest thing that ever happened. And then you know what his conclusion is? After the Geithner quote, here's what Grunwald says. And they won. It was a war of necessity, and they won. And then they quote Secretary Paulson, the former Treasury Secretary for Bush, who did the bailouts in the first place. I shudder to think what the world would be like if Ben hadn't been running the Fed. Are there any quotes in this article from detractors? No, they're reactionary losers, right? You're only going to go and interview the people who work with Ben Bernanke and who love Ben Bernanke, who put him in that place and who want him to get renominated. Finally, I'm at the end of the article here because all this was not enough. He's going to go further. Amazingly, the one reform that has attracted bipartisan support on Capitol Hill has been a crusade to rein in the Fed. Amazingly. How dare they challenge the Fed when it's the job of Washington establishment to be up that Fed's ass, right, Michael? How dare they? Amazingly. They would challenge Ben Bernanke. At his recent confirmation hearing, Bernanke endured hours of nitpicking and abuse. Here are congressmen actually doing their job for the first time, saying, hey, what did you do with the Fed? Where's the money? How are we going to account for all this money? What are we going to do? And that becomes nitpicking and abuse, and poor Ben Bernanke had to endure it. And then, as if all of that wasn't enough, he says, quote, this is the reporter writing, let's cut the guy some slack. He wrote that in the article. Let's cut the guy some slack. You call yourself a reporter. Pathetic. It's no consolation that one of the Americans who he's explaining, oh, look, I get that the economy's in bad shape. It's no consolation to the 1 in 6 Americans who is underemployed and the 1 in 7 homeowners with delinquent mortgages and to the 1 in 8 families on food stamps. But there would be far more joblessness, foreclosures, and hunger were it not for Ben Bernanke. Because Ben Bernanke fed the world, obviously. As the terrifying, and this is the final paragraph, as the terrifying memories of free-falling markets fade, Bernanke has become a political victim of his apolitical success. His boldness in this crisis feels like yesterday's news, but if he's adopting a less aggressive approach to guiding a weak economy around skittish markets, it's not because he's timid, stupid, or indifferent to Main Street. He's earned the benefit of the doubt. It's now up to our dysfunctional political system to let him do his job and to fix the financial system so that he never has to save the world again. And there it is, the worst article written in American history. Michael Grunwald, you should be fired immediately. The editor who ran that article as the lead article on Time should be fired immediately. You people are pathetic. You're exactly what's wrong with the mainstream media. That's why people don't trust you anymore. That's why they don't buy your magazines anymore, because you're puff pieces. You're like salivating little like entertainment reporters. Oh, Brittany, can I get a quote? Oh, Ben Bernanke, you're so good. You saved the world. Can you please save it again? This isn't even remotely close to the truth. If these guys are the ones that are proud of their journalism, there's no journalism left in the country anymore. And then, of course, these guys look down on people online that are actually trying to find out the truth. They're like, oh, please, that guy didn't even blow Ben Bernanke. What would he know? Can you get a sense of what I thought of this article and what I think of you, Michael Grunwald? You're terrible. Go find another source of employment because you're exactly what's wrong with American journalism.